Almighty for us to discuss what was planned for you people this evening. We are going to be asking and answering the question as to whether war was actually declared in Cameroon in the context of the ongoing Anglophone crisis. If war was declared, we'll declare the war, and were constitutional dispositions respected in declaring that war. We equally are going to be looking at other issues touching on the lives of Cameroon, especially the ongoing conflict. After the meeting of the All Anglophone General Conference conveners that took place yesterday in Boya at the Synod office, where the members said they were not very okay for the intervention of the international community to fix issues that they considered internal to Cameroon. We are going to be discussing this with our panelists who are already in the house. Salomon Bias is a jurist. He is equally a politician. Bonsoir, bienvenue.
Bonsoir, Lionel Koum. Bonsoir, très chers co-panélistes. Bonsoir, Mr. Barista.
Bonsoir.
C'est un honneur pour moi de vous avoir comme co-panéliste sur le plateau. Je profite aussi pour remercier et souhaiter, n'est-ce pas, un bon vivre dans notre pays pour tous nos millions de téléspectateurs qui sont scotchés en ce moment sur la télévision.
Okay. We equally are in the company of George Mufo. George Mufo is a social entrepreneur and an expert on issues of development. Good evening and welcome.
Thank you, and good evening, viewers. And we are happy to be here. And I want to also say good evening to the other co-panelists. And I hope we are going to have a good program.
We are also in the company of Barrister Achu Julius. He is a barrister at law and a politician. Good evening, Barrister, and welcome.
Yeah, good evening, Mr. Koum. It's a pleasure being here this evening. I've not seen my friend, Mr. Bias, for a long time. Happy to see you. Good evening, my co-panelists and televiewers. I hope we'll have a nice debate this evening.
We thank God you were able to overcome the traffic that kept you for some.
Oh, it was not easy. It's not easy. Coming here today, I know to come to this TV, you need to come 2 hours before.
Okay. Equally with us for the very first time is Tamfu Jones. He is the Secretary General of Modekna Party, an opposition party operating in Cameroon. Good evening and welcome.
Thank you very much, Mr. Koum. It's a pleasure to be here today to talk about the things of our nation. And I'll say good evening to my co-panelists and all the viewers in Cameroon and worldwide.
Yeah, can our televiewers understand what the full meaning of Modekna?
Yeah, the full meaning of Modekna is a Mouvement Démocratique de la Conscience Nationale. That's a democratic movement of national conscience. It's a political party that has been in existence since 1995. Went off for some time, and in 2011 we decided to revive it again. And decided not to stand for presidential elections 2017 because of the ongoing crisis.
So you took the stance of the CPP that also said they were not going for elections.
We can say so, since we were looking at the thing from the same angle. We said if a part of the body is not okay, there's no need going for sport. We go for sport when we are fully okay.
Did you convince others to follow you?
Yeah, we convinced others, but because of power, hunger, they decided not to buy our idea, and they went in for the elections and lost the elections and came back and started bringing up the points that it was because of the Anglophone crisis that they did not win here and there, and the people and the CPT and party cheated the here and there. Meanwhile, they went in and we told them that people are going into a lost battle. But yet they went, and when they had the defeat, and they came back and
So you don't believe that the opposition won?
I cannot fully say so, because when statistically opposition is present in Cameroon in 5 regions, and the 2 affected Anglophone regions have a great solid opposition, and when they are not okay, they're in crisis, the people were not authorized to vote, they will have the CPDM who will vote for their boss, because those who are working with the public service, the civil servants, they will vote for their boss, Mr. Biya. The military, they will vote for their boss, Mr. Biya. So when you go into elections and you are to face these guys there, whom the secessionists have said nobody will vote there and the civilians will not to vote, but yet they will count their people there and say they have this number of votes, and you cannot argue since you could not go there to see their voters too. So that's that.
Okay, we are going to begin discussing our topic for tonight that has to do with answering the question whether war was actually declared in Cameroon, especially in the context of the ongoing Anglophone crisis. I start with you, Mofo George. Was war declared in Cameroon?
That's a good one. You know, we are not coming from nowhere, and we're coming from somewhere. That question, I will not run away from it by saying I don't have an answer to that question. But what is clear is that there is an ongoing war in Cameroon now. And this war, before now, we've known the word war in different dimensions. And if you look at the general concept of war, we want to say war is already within the minds of people before it is even externalized. At every moment in time, you will discover that either we are sending out some action against some evil intentions of an opposition or an opponent. And once we are doing that, you hear they say we are declaring a war against illegal goods, we are declaring a war against piracy, we are declaring a war against, and so on and so forth. Now you're asking the question clearly, that was war actually declared. Now by that declaration, you are saying that somebody had to go to the public microphone and say, I declare war to a particular group of persons. I am not sure that was actually said, especially using the direct authoritative channel that the constitution of this country requires that should be done. If we follow how the Iraq situation happened when George Bush, the American president, actually went, before he was even talking formally, the guns were already falling and bombs were already falling in Iraq after Saddam Hussein and his friends did whatever they did. So I want to say, whether war was declared or not, there is a war situation present in Cameroon, and this is supposed to be looked upon in its bigger dimension from the political, cultural, sociological, and even philosophical perspective. If you look at the history of warfare, you know that there is war, and war could explode, not necessarily being declared by an official person. You will come, as we are going to be progressing in the program, to discover some of the arguments for and against. But what is actually supposed to be on the table now is that
when you say
we have...
expressly, I don't understand. We saw the President of the Republic, while in France, he expressly said, nous déclarons la guerre à Boko Haram.
That's what I'm saying, that you are asking the question within the Anglophone context.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying, that within the Anglophone context, he didn't come out overtly and say, I'm declaring war against Anglophones. There's no recorded evidence that he ever did that.
Salomon, est-ce que la guerre a été déclarée au Cameroun par rapport à ce qui se passe?
Je pense que quand je l'écoute, avec les explications qu'il essaie d'apporter, je pense qu'il n'a pas un peu la chronologie des événements.
Okay.
Je ne vais pas me permettre de botter en touche ce qu'il a dit, mais je vais essayer d'apporter, n'est-ce pas, les éclaircies pour que nos téléspectateurs soient un peu situés à la question de savoir si la guerre a été déclarée dans un contexte, n'est-ce pas, de crise anglophone. Je commencerai par situer, n'est-ce pas, ce qui a conduit à ce qu'il y ait une crise anglophone. Nous rappelons bien, et M. Barista, qui est en face de moi, ne va pas me démentir, qu'un 21, n'est-ce pas, je ne sais pas, du mois de novembre 2016, il y a eu une manifestation connexée des avocats et des enseignants. Nous étions en 2016, qui réclamaient un certain nombre de choses, et ces manifestations ont été brutalement ensauvagées, avec une humiliation à ne point, n'est-ce pas, comparer. C'était la première fois pour moi, un jeune, dans l'histoire, parce que je respecte la profession d'avocature avec, je sais pas comment je considère ça. Pour moi, l'avocat, après Dieu, c'est lui. Et quand j'ai vu un avocat traîner dans la boue, sa toge déchirée, frappée, on les a portés.
De la guerre, hein?
Non, je suis en train de venir. L'image que ça symbolisait. Et après, les anglophones qui considèrent l'avocat comme un symbole de la société n'ont pas accepté ça. Et les choses ont commencé à aller un peu plus fortes. Même jusqu'à là, nous avons vu les revendications des gens comme Mancho BBC, Barrister Arbobala, Fontaine Neba. Mancho BBC qui a manifesté avec un cercueil jusqu'à ce niveau. Il n'y avait pas, n'est-ce pas, des violences extrêmes. Mais ce n'est qu'au retour du chef de l'État, M. Paul Biya, du 5e sommet de l'Union européenne et l'Union africaine à Abidjan, encore à l'aéroport international, qu'il dit « Je déclare la guerre aux sécessionnistes anglophones ». À cette époque-là, est-ce que ces gens avaient déjà la connotation sécessionniste?
Il a utilisé les mots « je déclare la guerre ».
Mais bien sûr.
Non.
Il a utilisé ces mots-là?
Mais attendez.
Non.
Écoutez, s'il vous plaît. Attendez. Les écrits sont là. Et les mots n'ont de sens que selon le contexte qui sont utilisés. Que ce soit déclare ou son synonyme. L'essentiel, c'est le sens à donner à la phrase. Et effectivement, après qu'il ait dit ça, et qu'il ait pris des mesures pour essayer de contenir de façon brutale, accrue, les revendications qui étaient dans ce sens, nous avons immédiatement ouvert la boîte de Pandore à la crise anglophone. Et c'est à partir de ce moment que les meurtres se sont multipliés, que les écoles ont commencé à être brûlées, que les gens ont commencé à mourir, que mes frères militaires ont commencé à tomber inutilement sur le champ de bataille.
Mais bien après sûr, la déclaration.
Mais effectivement, c'est après ça qu'on a vu une montée. Même si avant...
Le président réagissait
Écoutez, je l'ai entendu dire, prendre des exemples des États-Unis et de l'Irak. Alors, le Cameroun, la guerre du Nord-Ouest et du Sud-Ouest est particulière parce que elle n'oppose pas le Cameroun à un autre pays. Moi, quand j'étais petit, j'ai bien vécu le règlement du conflit entre le Cameroun et le Nigeria sur la presqu'île de Bakassi. Oui. Même jusqu'à ce niveau, on n'avait pas déclaré la guerre au Nigeria, qui était bien une opposition armée. Et je me rappelle bien à cette époque-là que les militaires tombaient sur le champ de bataille. Et quand on affectait même les gens là-bas, ils refusaient de partir parce que c'était tendu. Mais alors, comment expliquer qu'à l'intérieur d'un pays, les enfants contre leurs enfants, les parents qui réclament quelque chose de façon pacifique puissent recevoir comme opposition une force armée avec une telle brutalité? C'est un peu regrettable.
Okay, was war actually declared? When you listen to him, he says that from every indication, the government actually fast forwarded, precipitated Cameroonians to getting into the war situation in which you find themselves now.
No, I think my good friend has don't actually understand the stakes.
Okay.
Because I will never say there was war declared by Mr. Biya. You should understand one thing. As per our constitution in sections 8 and 9, Mr. Biya is a commander-in-chief. He's with the parliament, manages the sovereignty of the state. He's in charge of internal and external security. So he doesn't need anybody to declare war when he wants to declare war. That's just what he did in France against Boko Haram. But with the case of Cameroon, you are commander-in-chief. You come back to your country. You hear that a group of persons who claim to become to a secessionist movement have killed 2 policemen and 4 military men. You are the commander-in-chief. What do? Those guys were considered as criminals. So he decided that, okay, he's going to take every step to make sure that he stops this, he prevents these criminals from continuing the killings. I will not say there's war in Cameroon, because when there's war, right, you have never lived war. I've lived in Central African Republic, I know what is war. At least I saw it live. I've lived in Bakassi, my father was a Jew in Bakassi, I saw war. It is boom, boom, ta 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 ta, it's like music. and the guns that you hear, the sound of explosions that you hear, you know that there's an exchange. But in Cameroon, you have some sort of thing where some guys just come from the bush, they go and hide in the bush for as well, mosquitoes and insects. Once in the wild, if they see an errant soldier moving alone or two of them, they ambush the guy, cut their head off, and rush back to the bush. And whenever the military comes, they retaliate. When they move from one camp, they go to the next. And you call that war? Let me tell you something. In the north, I didn't go to around where Boko Haram was because the type of guns I was hearing, just from very far, will not make you approach the area for 1 second. You should know that when there's a war, there's a group on one way and a group another way, and there's cross-bombardment. We have a group of persons who, at first of all, they were not identified, but they said they were a movement, a secessionist movement. They killed in cold blood 2 policemen and 4 army men, 4 military men. They were not identified. So when President Biya made the speech that he's going to take every steps to make sure that these criminals are stopped, he never said he's going for a war. Suddenly, a group came out to say, oh, we are Southern Cameroonians. We are the ones who did that job in Manfred to kill those guys. Thereafter, it became Southern Cameroonians, Ambazonians. Gradually, the name Ambazonia was disappeared, it became secessionist. No, the name Southern Cameroon was disappeared, it became Ambazonia secessionist. Afterwards, they said, no, it's not secessionist, it's restorationist. Afterwards, now, we don't even know who is who because what happened is that they're waiting for Christ. They pray that you and me should die out of Bamenda or Boya. So by the time our corpses are coming back, they'll ask our families to pay a ransom for them to go back and be eating and living in the bush. Is that what you call war? That is not war. To me, that is not war. It is a joke. We have in front of us a regular army which is recognized by the United Nations and a group of guys who call themselves whatever, who think that a certain territory belongs to them, and they cannot even defend that territory because they terrorize the presence of that territory more than even the military.
Okay.
I can't call that war. Fighting civilians, you call that war. Killing civilians, call that war.
Tanfu Jones, you have been listening to the 3 previous panelists. You think that war was declared or not in Cameroon?
It was on the 30th of November 2016 when Mr. Biya came and at the airport. He presented his condolence message to the families of the 2 police officers and 4 soldiers who were killed in the northwest and the southwest. And he said that Cameroon has been attacked, been a victim of multiple attacks from a group of terrorists claiming to be secessionist movements. He says measures will be put in place to wipe out all those who don't want peace to reign in the country. Now, in Cameroon, then we were suffering from Boko Haram crisis in the north, and those were the terrorists we knew. So when he spoke of terrorism, we thought maybe he was talking of the Boko Haram in the north. But little did we know, those civilians, those Cameroonian children who took peace plans to the street to march and ask for their rights, ask for better living conditions, were the ones considered terrorists. I'm surprised to listen to Barrister here talk about civilians fighting civilians. It's not correct. When the 2 police officers and the 4 military soldiers were killed, Mr. Biya came and declared war against the people who had killed these officers. Now, when our sisters were being raped, our parents killed on October 1st, was war declared? No. Did he fish out the perpetrators? No. Nothing was done. It was a normal and an authorized crime against humanity. His own soldiers were so precious to him. He declared war on our people, started killing our people, and up to date. And still here they say we are fighting against each other. No. There are guys who said that we cannot die with our arms folded. We will defend ourselves because people manifested peacefully with peace plans. They were being sent guns. Guns were being used upon them. They said, no, we cannot die like that. They started with machetes.
Are you saying that a declaration was a declaration of war? And if it was a declaration of war, I don't know that you can read what
when you read it, there's no clear declaration of war, but what happens after the declaration? And when it happens after the declaration, people are being killed and nobody says anything. It means that the deeper message was not clear. And there's another thing. If Mr. Biya knows that Northwest and Southwest is part of his country, he will have come clearly to talk about the crisis. Can you believe that up till now, Mr. Biya has never come out clearly to talk about this crisis? He has never said anything concerning the crisis. So it is the same thing. Means that he did not declare war clearly, but he has carried out war against the people in the North and the Southwest.
Et je voudrais même ajouter un peu de l'eau à ton moulin en réalité. Celui qui connaît ce que c'est que le dialogue, la conversation ou le discours, sait que dans un discours, il y a deux types de référentiels qui peuvent ressortir quand quelqu'un fait un discours. Il y a le sous-entendu, il y a le présupposé. Quand on analyse un discours, tu n'as pas besoin absolument d'affirmer que je te tue pour qu'on sache qu'on va te tuer. Mais on peut disséquer dans ton discours les éléments constitutifs ça.
Comment est-ce qu'il devait réagir par rapport aux soldats et policiers qui ont été tués?
Mais effectivement, Léo, moi, j'ai une très grande pensée pieuse pour les soldats camerounais. Oui. Je respecte l'armée camerounaise et encore beaucoup plus les jeunes de 18 à 20 ans qui portent les couleurs du drapeau et qui sont chaque fois sur le feu nourris des combats pour défendre la patrie et qui ne peuvent jamais avoir la capacité de choisir leurs dirigeants parce qu'à 19 ans, on ne peut pas voter au Cameroun. Je vais vous dire, Léo,
pourquoi ne pensez-vous aussi pas que ceux qui ont commencé à tuer ces soldats, et c'est eux qui ont déclaré?
Je vais vous dire, je vais répondre avant de répondre à la première question. Je vais vous dire, Léo, il faudrait qu'on soit clair là-dessus. Les soldats camerounais comme les policiers ont longtemps été tués dans des assauts à la chasse des brigands, des bandits. Il y a des chars de coups de feu. Écoutez, je suis en train de vous expliquer.
Non, pas
quand un chef d'État est chef supérieur de l'armée, ou alors comme Barista venait de le décrire, et qu'un militaire tombe sur le champ, n'est-ce pas, tué par un présumé sécessionniste, je vais aller dans son sens. Alors, on n'allume pas le feu à la mèche. Parce qu'en réalité, quand on est un grand chef, on ne dirige pas seulement à l'instant, on se projette dans l'avenir. Écoutez, on se projette. Moi, je suis un leader et je me projette dans l'avenir. Je pense Cameroun, dans 10, dans 20, dans 40 ans. Si moi, je suis chef d'État, je ne peux pas déclarer une action.
Vous avez déjà utilisé votre temps.
Mais je suis d'accord. Voilà où nous sommes aujourd'hui. Effectivement, c'est bonnes idées.
OK, let me get back to you. Before, you are laughing. Seemingly, what is being said here is funny today. But do you think that people are trying to instrumentalize the people using their narratives and philosophies to justify their action under the guise of a declared war?
Of course. I mean, if you unfortunately, we cannot be too pedantic here and too pedagogic to start bringing in a historical analysis of warfare and all of those things. War is so much a serious issue that we cannot come here and be using jingoism, political type of melo to say what is not said. The head of state of this country has what it takes to declare a war like he had done before against Boko Haram. Nothing stopped him then when he came back and said that he is going to use the same wording that he used in front of the Palais de Élysée in France. Nothing stopped him to have done that. What I'm saying is that when you look at warfare, it takes everything for Cameroon based on the constitutional disposition on how it is to be done. And like the prerogative that he has as a head of state, nothing stops him from saying, I declare war on what we call Southwest and Northwest, the population, because they have tolerated one of them or a group of them to take arms and kill the other persons. We should be very, very clear here, because I want to say, in as much as Barrister Achu said what is going on in the Southwest and Northwest is not war, I actually have the conviction and also the the evidence to say that that is a civil war going on, because we have, you can call them a state actor and a non-state actor confronting each other, because these guys, as the situation goes and it's taking long time, they are also arming themselves, and there are situations where they actually stand face to face with the regular military guys. So what is actually happening? We actually have situations of two group of armed persons, one state apparatus and the other one non-state actors. So that confrontation is going on. And when we talk about war in the bigger sense, we are talking about conflict. We are talking about antagonism between a protagonist and the other camp, which is what is actually happening today in the southwest and the northwest. But again, it doesn't still answer, or it doesn't still make me to say it was based on the fact that the head of state of this country declared openly. If he did not declare on that particular day, as this situation has been going on, he has now used other elements, other statements that we can now say that from that time that he did not openly say that he is going to attack the people, he is now saying that the government or the military has been authorized to use all the means to eliminate or to kill those people, because he was talking about the French word is borrow me that French word. There's a French word that is used that he says that those yes, they'll wipe them off if they don't drop their arms. So he was saying that because he says that if they don't drop their arms, which means that there's an armed group the other side, then he's saying that, okay, since you guys don't want to drop your arms, I'll authorize the military. This is what he said when he was presiding over the graduation at EMIA, and the speech that he made I think towards the end of the year, when he was making his end of year speech. Those are scenarios that we can even say that he has actually declared now war, not on the population of the southern and northern, but on those who are actually carrying weapons, that he has asked them to drop those weapons, or the military will use all what it takes to wipe them off.
Okay, my question to you, I will still ask it to Barrister, whether people on both sides are wanting to use this catchphrase of having declared war, that the president came on at the airport and declared war to justify certain actions, and because what he presented was the implied meaning of what the president said. You were trying to give an implied meaning of what the president said at the airport, and I asked him whether the fact that 4 military persons were killed in the southwest region and 2 police officers, can it not also be given an implied meaning of having waged war? Because when you take up arms against a military, it means you are prepared for war.
Yeah, you see, most of us have the tendency of only wanting to hear what your ears would like to hear. We don't go into the depth to find out what is the meaning of anything. We prefer a meaning that suits the purposes for that time. We don't give a damn to the rest. You clearly said it. Who killed who first? Who used arms first? Okay, you want to talk about implied meaning. Which implication is more intense? The guy who used arms first, or the guy who merely talked about something that might resemble going to war? The guys who used arms first were the ones who declared war in any case. So the so-called
the military.
Yeah. Come on, please.
Yeah. They're the ones who use arms.
I was not disturbing when you were talking. So it means to kill 4 military people and kill 2 policemen, arms were used. Who used those arms? The president thought they were just criminals, terrorists, who are aligned to a movement called a secessionist movement. That's what he thought, and that's what he said. That he's going to take every steps to make sure this criminal is out. You remember, if I don't know, most of you were in Douala 15, 20, 18 years ago. They sent General Pai to come and stop banditry in Douala. The army was in town, and they succeeded. Everybody praised the effort afterwards, despite the fact that there were scapegoats. There were people who died who didn't merit it, but they succeeded in putting what they call the Équipe Nationale de
Commandement Opérationnel.
Yes. So it was a special mission when the army was sent to come and stop the so-called kidnaps, like the Bandi or something like that. And it succeeded. It went on very well. Nobody said anything about that. We've forgotten about those who died, and now we're remembering only what's going on now. But please, if you want to take upon an army of a country, you should be ready. Because collateral damage is going to be there. But the fun is, you who is taking up these guns against the army, are you in a position to protect the very population you think that they are yours? Can you? We are seeing a good example now. They can't. All they can do is stay in the bush. Which town are they occupying? Apart from instilling fear, the ghost town, whatever, they want people to move. And look at their first prayer, that before they sit on the table to talk, they should remove the army. So one that the army should be removed for them to come and occupy the towns? No way, it's not possible. So you see, I always say it, you want to fight the war, fight the war. If you don't want to fight the war, don't start. Something which you think that you start with machetes and be developing as time goes on. The people who bear the brunt is the local population. Whether you like it or not. Because you can't stand an army. You can only ambush a few errands who go out of hand. You can't stand an army. You can't fight for more than 1 or 2 hours. If it comes to confrontation, you don't have the ammunition. And let me tell you, the Cameroon government has not used its ammunition. Have you ever heard that they use an aircraft? Have you ever heard that a bomb is dropped? Look, war is bombardment, please. War is no joke. You don't think, what's the other thing? You come and stand on the line, like in those, the British, the English in those days, there's one line of the troops this way, and one line that way, and you start shooting, nobody's dodging. You don't do that again. War is more tactical, you can imagine.
Okay, no, we started the program quite late, and let's go to the newsroom. Just keep it when we come back. Vous allez
effectivement, parce qu'il y a des choses.
Il a chaud.
Je n'ai pas chaud. Tout au contraire.
Il a chaud. Okay, please, we are going over to our newsroom to find out what stories about life today.
I'm implying.
Some internally displaced persons from the 3 subdivisions of Bamenda, Bamenda 1, Bamenda 2, and Bamenda 3 were beneficiaries of food items and relief package offered by government as humanitarian assistance to the displaced because of the socio-political crisis rocking the region. The package offered by government to the beneficiaries were mattresses, blankets, rice, groundnut oil, savon, sardine, etc. The beneficiaries, IDPs, says it will be of great help to them and their families.
Buru, you should there become kiwi, mattress, rice, groundnut oil. You should be happy.
The day that I leave Benakuma, I just get gunshot at around 5:30. As I just go out from my backside door. As I run, I take my children. Since that day that I'm displaced, come here in Benakuma, no year go back. As I just see the rice, I'm very happy. Because since I'm here, I've not received rice. I'm only here that I've give rice this side, I've give rice this side. So I'm very happy.
Talking to the press, the head of the Center for Humanitarian Assistance, Shifon Mingo, said all the 300 families in Bamenda 1, 2, and 3 subdivisions who registered and benefited proved they are internally displaced.
We can affirm that every families which are here, they receive their gesture. So we can affirm that the distribution is transparent.
The IDPs who've not yet benefited from the humanitarian gestures were asked to go register at the nearest subdivisional office where they reside.
The Minister of Public Service and Administrative Reforms, Joseph Le, over the weekend paid a working visit to the Bamenda Examination Center, host to 50 people magistrates who registered to sit for the special recruitment of legal personnel of English expression into Magistracy and Court Registry Division of the National School of Administration and Magistracy ENAM 2019 session.
As you know, it's a special operation that has been instructed by the head of state, His Excellency Mr. Paul Biya. We are recruiting during 4 years 30 court registrars and 50 magistrates. They will be specialized for the Northwest and the Southwest regions, because we have noticed that we have a lack of magistrates and court registrars in those regions.
After comforting the students for their bravery despite the tension in the Northwest region, the minister encouraged them to write well, for merit will play a vital role during marking and eventual entry into ENAM.
I'm happy to notice that those young men are very concentrated, and we just wish them all the best, hoping that we will meet them next time at ENAM when they will succeed.
The minister equally visited the regional delegation of public service and administrative reforms at Upstation, where he was taken round by the regional delegate who presented some of the challenges they face at the regional delegation, such as lack of electricity, constant visits of men of the underworld, shortage of staff, and a lot more. He assured them he would look into the difficulties while finding a lasting solution to these worries. The minister used the visit to encourage two of his staff who were recently abducted by unidentified gunmen. The visit ended with family pictures to immortalize the day, since it was the very first time the minister visited the Northwest region. End of paper.
Cameroon's Communication Minister and Government Spokesperson Rene Emmanuel Sadi has debunked information circulating on other media claiming persons lost their lives during the fire incident at the Buea Central Prison. In a communique dated 25th July 2019, Minister Rene Emmanuel Sadi stated that 2 security officers and 43 detainees were wounded, and amongst the 43 wounded detainees, 23 were immediately administered treatment by the medical department of the prison. The lone detainee whose case was critical was immediately rushed to a medical facility in Buea. The communique also mentioned that amongst basic food items that were burnt, the library and office of the head of disciplinary department was also consumed by the fire. The minister acknowledged the circumstances that led to the fire outbreak. According to this communique, after prisoners went on rampage and blocked the entrance to the prison, they raised barricades and later set some facilities ablaze, but no lives were lost. Though the timely intervention of the forces of law and order calmed the situation, investigations are still open to bring to book those behind the mutiny.
The percentage realization of public investment projects for FACO division stands at 15.51% as compared to the execution rate same time last year, which stood at 19.23% physically, showing a slight decrease in the execution rate. The figures were disclosed during the second quarter divisional follow-up meeting, which took place at the conference hall number 3 of the Limberwon Council Chambers. Addressing participants and stakeholders during the meeting, the chairperson of the FACO Divisional Follow-Up Committee, Honorable Etombi Ikombe Gladys, called for a minute of silence in honor of the late Divisional Delegate of Public Contracts, Ashu Tambe, who passed into eternity 2 months ago. She reminded vote holders on the need to execute projects awarded to them on time to improve the living conditions of their population, while emphasizing on a participatory approach from various stakeholders.
It is the cross-section of the population which takes part in the meeting. The chiefs who represent their villages should be in the meeting. Even if you do not receive an invitation, as many people would say, if you know that that meeting is holding, come there and make your voice heard. If you have your projects in your area, you should come and report on how the projects are going on. We should all be proactive. We should all help our nation to grow. We should stop the blame game, blaming left, right, and center. Let us stop blaming each other and just look forward and see how we can help to build our nation.
On his part, the Divisional Delegate of Economy and Regional Development, Ngwa Edile Jackson, painted a picture of projects awarded to FACO Division and the level of execution for the 2019 fiscal year.
If I want to be very optimistic, we say that by beginning September, we see things moving in Moyuka. Well, I know that people will ask about the security issue, but I think the administration knows how to handle certain things.
Luma Stephen Joke is the new president of the FACO Divisional Tenders Board. He too gave a summary of projects earmarked for the 2019 fiscal year within the competence of the FACO Divisional Tenders Board.
As concerns the FACO Division, for projects within the ambit or competence of the tender boards, as I made in my expose, we had a total of about 18 projects which were examined, proposed awards made, and awards given to 16. It's just 2 that are still ongoing. From that premise, you'll see that we have at least a percentage of more than 90%.
Meantime, the acting divisional delegate of public contracts highlighted on the major problems hindering the level of execution of projects in FACO division, amongst which are the lateness in the execution of projects by some councils, the late submission of tender documents by vote holders, and the insecurity in some parts of the division due to the socio-political crisis.
Under the auspices of Christian Cardinal Tumi, the conveners of the Anglophone General Conference have carried out a deep examination of the socio-political and economic problem in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon. The meeting took place at the Synod Office of the Presbyterian Church in Boya on the 24th of July 2019. In this meeting, the conveners evaluated the ongoing crisis which has resulted in the closure of schools in the 2 regions of the country, the displacement of hundreds of thousands of Anglophones internally and externally, loss of lives, long-term physical and psychological injury, and increase in sexual violence, and above all, they expressed shock and dismay at the recent revolts of inmates at the Yaoundé and Boya prisons, which the conveners understood were occasioned by excruciatingly inhumane detention conditions and lengthy detention without trial. In a press release signed on the 25th July 2018, the conveners reiterated their plea for the government to consider the release of all detained in connection with the current socio-political crisis in the country. They also stressed on the importance for the government to grant a general amnesty to all arrested within the course of the crisis. On the various peace initiatives, the conveners insist that Cameroonians should handle the matter because it is a Cameroonian problem. However, they welcome external initiatives whose roles should be clearly defined towards the implementation of dialogue or negotiations. They equally recognize the precious roles of women in helping to bring back truth, justice, peace, and stability to the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon.
At least 115 people are feared drowned after a boat carrying migrants sank off the coast of Libya, a Navy official has said. According to General Ayub Kassem, 134 people were rescued and a body recovered. The boat was carrying some 250 people from a number of African and Arab countries when it sank 8 kilometers from the coast, General Kassem added. The UN's refugee agency said it was the deadliest shipwreck in the Mediterranean Sea so far this year. At least 65 migrants died in May after their boat capsized off the coast of Tunisia. 16 people survived. According to the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, a total of 164 people died on the route between Libya and Europe in the first 4 months of 2019. Migrants often make the perilous journey from Libya to Europe in overcrowded boats, like this one pictured in early July. The latest tragedy happened soon after the boat had set sail from the Libyan town of Al-Khoms, some 120 kilometers east of Tripoli. The United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees earlier said it understood as many as 150 people were missing and 150 people had been rescued by local fishermen and returned to Libya by coast guards. Earlier this month, 40 migrants were killed after a detention center on the outskirts of Tripoli was hit in an airstrike. But since mid-2017, the number of migrants' journeys has declined dramatically. The decline is largely because Italy has engaged Libyan forces to stop migrants from setting off or return them to Libya if found at sea, a policy condemned by human rights organizations. In the first 3 months of 2019, some 15,900 refugees and migrants arrived in Europe via Mediterranean routes, a 17% decrease on the same period in 2018.
Welcome back. You are watching Prime Hour on My Media Prime, and we are asking the question and also finding answers to the question as to whether a war was declared in Cameroon in the context of the ongoing Anglophone crisis. Salomon Bias, you are itchy to take the mic, but I want to once again remind our televiewers that we opened a voting system for our mayors who you consider as the best mayor for Cameroon. Any municipality where you find yourself, please send us the name of the person you consider the best mayor, also telling us why you think he is the best mayor. For now, we have 43 names forwarded already by you televiewers, telling us who your best mayor is. We have the likes of Daniel Mata of Mbonge, Mayor Libok of Ezeka, Duncan Molindo of Limbe 2, Tanjon Martin of Tuba, Wache Francis of Noni, Shea Fidelis of Mbiame, Balik Awa Emmanuel of Bamenda 2, Nkelengo, he is the government delegate. Some people think that he's doing a great job. We have Tebe Beatrice of Mbengui, Kelvin Nokombele, who is not there. Some people still think that he is their best. Seke Luma, that is Limbe 3, Chambam Terence and Junicom, Chia Janet Bello. Some people even say their best mayors are people who are of late. So the names are there, but we have the two key persons are the mayors of Boya and Kumbu, who are in the leading positions as of now. So if you're following us, send us the name of the person you think is your best mayor. Also tell us why you think that person merits your vote, because at the end of the month, we are going to declare who is the My Media Prime best mayor of the month. Next month, we are moving over to something else. Salomon Bias, vous étiez vraiment chaud là. C'était quoi qu'il a dit que vous croyez que disait pas la vérité?
C'est pas qu'on était chaud, c'est qu'en fait, quand tu aimes le Cameroun comme moi j'aime le Cameroun, comme beaucoup qui sont nombreux et qui ne peuvent pas s'exprimer, les sans-voix, qui souffrent au quotidien, qui souffrent le martyr, qui subissent le système, quand je pense un peu à Monique Kouma Tekel dans un pays comme le Cameroun, et que je vois les gens qui ne peuvent pas être dialysés parce que beaucoup de personnes qui sont dans l'appareil étatique prennent de l'argent pour aller se soigner en Europe, exposant le pays. Je suis en train de vous dire, c'est mon mal-être. Je ne peux pas accepter, c'est inacceptable, de voir mes frères tomber près de 5000, les écoles brûler et être en joie. Léo, dans ce pays, je serai candidat à une élection. Et Barista Julius qui est en face de moi, qui est un grand avocat de l'ordre des avocats du barreau du Cameroun, que je respecte parce qu'il a fait ses preuves, c'est bien de quoi je parle. Quand on achète un concours, Léo, on devient de fait comme de droit un usurpateur. Quand on est un dirigeant et qu'on utilise les voies discourtoires, qu'on manipule la population, qu'on achète les consciences, on devient un usurpateur. Et dans le sens de ce qui se passe au nord et au sud-ouest, on ne peut pas aimer un peuple, Léo, et utiliser la violence, même si celle-là est légitimée par quelque loi que ce soit constitutionnellement établie. Parce que Barista Julius qui est en face de moi ne peut pas me démentir. Quand une constitution a des dispositions qui sont mauvaises, cette constitution, dans ces dispositions, ne mérite pas d'être appliquée. Et vous comprenez aujourd'hui le problème du Cameroun profond, parce qu'en réalité, il y a une fiction, il y a une tricherie, il y a une duperie qui fait en sorte que le pouvoir constituant originaire n'a pas consacré les contrepoids du pouvoir et ont donné de façon absolue le pouvoir à un homme dont on ne peut pas contrôler les tenants et les aboutissants. Parce que dans des pays équilibrés, la séparation du pouvoir, qui est un principe, une théorie à la base, qui forme l'État dans le droit, je ne parle pas des lois.
Est-ce que je peux vous relancer?
Relancez-moi, Léo.
Oui, je demandais si les dirigeants des deux partis utilisent ce mot de déclaration de guerre pour faire ce qu'ils veulent, des deux côtés, parce que si le gouvernement dit que nous n'avons pas déclaré la guerre, que nous avions été attaqués, et puis le gouvernement lui-même dit que nous sommes restés et puis les militaires ont été tués par des gens qui veulent diviser le pays. Ça veut dire que des deux côtés, chacun veut justifier sa position, mais en utilisant le mot que on a déclaré la guerre.
Vous savez ce qui est dangereux dans l'intelligence? C'est que quand un homme utilise l'intelligence pour tromper, pour mentir, pour tronquer l'information, il devient plus qu'une arme à destruction massive. Et c'est ça qui se passe dans notre pays. Vous vous rendez compte aujourd'hui que nous avons les gens d'un système RDPC qui ont dit le dialogue est interdit, on ne peut parler de rien. Mais les mêmes, ayant reçu de d'autres pays où il y a des intellectuels, des remontrances, eux, ils sont revenus seuls sur leur position. Que non, on va dialoguer.
Ils ont déclaré la guerre.
Écoutez, la vérité c'est qu'il y a plus de 4000 personnes qui sont mortes. Les gens ne se sont pas tués eux-mêmes. Il y a plus de 50 écoles qui sont brûlées. Les écoles ne se sont pas brûlées elles-mêmes. Il y a la CDC qui a été fermée. Elle ne s'est pas fermée elle-même. La vérité c'est que le pouvoir économique au Cameroun a chuté. Le patronat camerounais a donné des chiffres. Ça ne s'est pas fait seul. Alors, vous croyez que dans un environnement où les nouvelles technologies de l'information et de la communication, où l'intelligence se brasse parce que le monde est devenu un village planétaire, où vous pouvez être aux États-Unis et savoir ce qui se passe au Cameroun, on peut encore tromper les gens? Non. Ça ne peut plus passer parce qu'en réalité, ce type de politique politicienne qui ne vise que à utiliser des gens pour spolier les autres. Parce qu'aujourd'hui, nous avons l'impression que la victime, qui est le peuple camerounais, est devenue le bourreau. Non. Cette victime-là a été longtemps spoliée, maltraitée, acculée au bout par un groupuscule de personnes qui peuvent se targuer de tout, utiliser la politique pour dominer avec les moyens que la Constitution leur donne. Oui, la Constitution est utilisée pour le bien commun. C'est pas pour servir un pan.
Okay, special greetings to you, Mota Penda, one of the deputy mayors of Idinao Council. We are glad to know that you are following the program. Yes, you are also very itchy to counter what he just said. I'm talking about Salomon.
No.
Okay.
I am to add a little to what he was saying. We live in a country where the government decides to extinguish a nation.
Extinguish a nation?
Yes. Because
we
have two nations in Cameroon. We have two nations in Cameroon. Why will I say so? I will say so because this government didn't come out clearly that would clearly declare war on these people, but on the field there is war. Now they had prepared this thing from the word go, so that when they are killing people in the northwest and the southwest, at the level of the international community, anybody question that's been asked, they will tell the people that no, we did not declare war. There's no war in our country because the president never declared war. Meanwhile, they are killing.
Are there people living in Womb, in Cambe? You are from Dongamantu. Are there people living there?
Living or existing?
Are there people living?
Because there is a difference between living and existing. If I were there, because young men are targeted, if I were there, I am not sure I would be alive.
So there's no young man in Cambe today?
In Cambe's case, it's different. People are living in Cambe. How many villages? You only talk about Cambe. How many villages have been emptied?
Are you saying that there's no young person in Kumbu today?
How many? Out of how many? How many have been killed? Okay. Yeah, you say a 4-month-old child being killed, shot and killed, and you tell me that there are people living? Which part of the community would they accept that people are killed in that manner? And the barrister says there's no law with the armor cars and the shooting. When barrister says so, I have an impression that he has not been to ground zero. I have been there. The gunshot you hear there, and the barrister says he has never heard, and he only heard it in Central Africa. Then I will suggest barrister take a trip there. Yes.
You suggest he takes it.
Mr.
Why would you go there when there's no law?
Mr. Mofo. Yes, my question to you is that is it because nobody can clearly say whether war was declared that it is even becoming more difficult to find a solution to this problem?
No, I just pray that at the end of this particular program, we would have been able to contribute, contribute in whatever way to reverse the current situation, because we have a serious situation where those of us who are every day in Boya, we know what the people are living, and when we say that there is no war there now, it makes some of the people, because war definitely we might only think that it's just the physical or the ammunition moving left and right. You know the situation of Cold War, where there's even no weapon passing, but just the psychological trauma that people are going through is enough to even kill some people before the real weapons kill them. But what I want to say is that, Leo, we might not know why both camps, none of them call their armed persons attacking forces. They are all called, even our military is called defense forces. On the other side, you hear Ambassador Defense Force, this is Defense Force, and all of those Defense Force. So every person is defending, but who is defending against who? But you see, there are people who are strategists, they have said that the best way to defend is to attack. And so, like Barrister Achu was saying, if the state of Cameroon puts all its ammunition, its real warfare to actually use, without, I don't want to use some of the words which some of the panelists have used here, to do what they are saying to the population of Northwest and Southwest. I'm not sure some of us will even have the courage to even come here and say what we have seen or heard. But the issue is that there is a marked tension that if you find yourself at the wrong place in a town like Boya, Kumba, or Manfo, or Bamenda, and the other place, at a particular moment, you risk either being caught between the bullets of either the Amazonian Defense Force or the Cameroon Defense Forces, because every person is under their nervousness. They are all on the defensive. Nobody knows who is hiding somewhere to be able to throw. I heard last time that people are already jumping on on mines and exploding vehicles in Manfred and all of that. That is the situation that we are reaching at. And when we are seemingly saying that because overtly no war was declared, so because no war was declared, the situation should remain as it is, I think it is not fair, because what is going on, even if it's not clearly a declared war per se, there is serious conflict, and the conflict is that of an armed conflict that is resulting to total suffering and death. And so we should be able to say that we answered the question whether it was actually declared. If it was not actually declared, but the manifestation on the ground are showing that people have been mounting the pressure and the tension in them, and they were just waiting for an ignition for it to explode. And today we are seeing what we are seeing. We cannot sit here and say there is peace in the southwest and the northwest. And for those who are grammarian, they will say the opposite of peace is war.
Okay, the opposite of peace is war. How do we leave this blame game on who declared war? Because, like I asked him earlier on, everybody wants to use a justification that the other declared war, either willingly or implied in the way it was done. How do we leave all of that so that we chart a way forward?
It's not difficult. Okay. It's very difficult to leave it. It's very difficult for intellectuals to agree on certain notions. But what we forget is the fact that whenever we make a statement, there's always an implication in any statement. So we have to be very careful. My problem is, was war declared? Because that's what I came here for.
Yeah.
If we examine the facts, who started shooting? This thing about killing soldiers was Imamfe. If you want to bring in remote causes, like the march past with palm front, with leaves and whatever in Boya, they will start going back until you go back to 1884 when Cameroon was partitioned, or Africa was partitioned. Let's stop that. Let's not try to bring in intellectual reasoning to justify what is bad for this nation. Whether you like it or not, killing anybody is bad for this nation. And I will not be happy to say that when I listen to the president's speech, they say he declared war. No, I will not be happy because a head of state can never declare war against his own people. He never did that. So what I think we should do is, let's find out. Fine, people came out with leaves and marched. Something happened. I think some people lost their lives and were wounded. They killed military people, killed policemen. Because of that, there seemed to be some conflict, as Mr. Amufo says, serious conflict, which is armed, which is uses of arms. But who is bearing the brunt? Who is bearing the brunt?
The justification of the position.
Yes. If we pity our population, those untrained soldiers or untrained Cameroonians who have taken up arms should drop their arms. I will always repeat it. The president said, drop your arms or I will now come for war. He didn't say, give me your arms. He said, drop it, let's sit down and talk. Because we are not like in Mexico, the Western movies, Western films, you see where everybody has a gun. You come to parliament with a gun and everything. That time has passed. If you have to talk with me, you have to come without guns. I have to know that I'm safe with you. Because you can roll a gun anytime and shoot. Because we are talking. And if you are shot and you are dead, it's only regrets that can come afterwards. So, if we pity the lives of our population, because let me tell you again, the so-called restorationist or secessionist, what they are doing, the type of engagement they are taking, has a boomerang effect only on the population and not on the government. Not on the government. But you should understand one thing. The atrocities they commit, there's nobody who bears responsibility. But the atrocities the army commits, the government bears responsibility. So if we're intelligent enough to understand that the way these games are played, those guys who are now carrying guns and sitting in the bushes are no longer secessionists or restorationists. They've become bandits.
Okay, that's what you think. Good evening. Good evening to everyone in the panel. We should call a spade and stop beating around the bush. Please take us back to the 30th of November 2017 and listen to what the president said and its interpretation. It's clear that he declared war on the people. Okay, this is Sydney writing from Kumba. Sydney, I don't know whether it was implied meaning or... Good evening. Good job. We all know the right things to do. We are at war. Yes. Okay. This one says, good evening, Leo, and kudos for the great job. Leo, I'm sure Cameroon as a country is fiction. Ahead, brother, for the good work you're doing. My best mayor is Mbela Moki Charles, because ever since he became senator, okay, Boya still misses him. This is Tiku Felix, who should be writing from, I'm sure, Sandpit in Boya. Good evening to you, Tiku, and the family. My best mayor is the mayor of Mbengwi, Madame Tebi Beatrice. Our Doreen is writing from Douala. It's like you guys are getting more. Okay, you can. Why can you ask such a question? Is what declared it sounds. Okay. Yeah, we need to educate ourselves, please. Let me take some of these messages again. This one says, war was never declared against Anglophones, but against the armed rebels and useless drug addicts. But the useless so-called diaspora manipulated non-entities back home for something else. Here we are today. Cameroon is bad, but let's all put hands on deck and fix it. This is Oben writing from Boya. Good evening. Okay, so you cannot stand the army for 2 hours. Okay, we are ruled for 1 week. Okay, he says that if the people cannot stand the military for 2 hours, they succeeded in blocking Boya. I'm sure he's talking about the Kumba Boya highway for 1 week. Why did the police do before that happens? I'm very sad. Okay. Okay, say, God bless you all as you keep saying it, okay? As we speak, war is ongoing in Cameroon, and most especially in the northwest and southwest regions. Haven't you seen the military parading with sophisticated machine guns, armored cars? Is that what they use in chasing the handful of people that are disturbing the peace in our area? Both civilians, military, and the secessionists are all dying. Please stop the carnage. Tabot Machiavelli is writing from Yaoundé. Roland from Boya, say greetings to you guys in the studio. Chewing our words does not help the two parties in any way. Biya declared war on us. He can't win the war. Okay. This one says, Fitoni Timber is my name. Good evening to all the panelists. Yes, a war was declared by Francophones and Anglophones. From the elections results, if we can follow the implied words of many political leaders as explained by Mr. Bias, that I'm greeting, by the way, Mr. Bias, okay, I like your program a lot. Okay. Thank you very much. This one says your questions, okay, if they are young people, can be. Our so-called leaders are not seeing people dying. If he did not declare, why can't he stop? Okay. Okay. Good evening to you all in the studio, please. I spoke, I think, okay, that people should come to Boya and feel the real pinch. This one, I think that kudos ahead, brother, for the good work. Okay, thank you. Keep the messages coming, especially voting for your best mayor, because we have just 2 days to go to wrap up. We have to stop here. Let's discuss briefly so that we take on the second topic. No, you are not asking questions here. Please, just make your point.
Okay,
I am the one asking
questions. 2 questions come to my mind when the barrister talks. Yeah. I will ask myself, why is it that Mr. Bias did not call for these guys to drop their peace plans, come and tell him their grievances in the beginning? He will wait until when they pick guns before he calls for them to come and tell them their grievances in the beginning. This is doing the wrong thing at the right, the right thing at the wrong time. Okay. Secondly, the way Mr. Barrister Ashu speaks, I think he is indirectly saying that Mr. Biya is not a good leader, because if he was, and he didn't declare war in Cameroon, and his military are killing people left and right, and he is saying nothing about it, and he did not declare war, it means that he has no power to maintain peace and security in his country and ensure the safety of life and security of his people.
Okay.
Then he should leave power.
You have made your points. Let's move over to our next topic. You want to reply?
Of course. I have to reply.
Wow.
First and foremost, Biya will not rule this country because Mr. Tamfo says that it's going to be like this. Mr. Tamfo never won elections anywhere in his life, so he doesn't know what it means to manage people. So that's no big deal. But I'm saying again, he has a political party, right? Yes. Let's wait to see what Motegna will do next time. Okay. For you to understand.
That's a challenge.
Never won even a
party.
That's it. Let democracy be democracy. It should not be them all crazy.
Let me tell you something. CBDM has always trained all the leaders, but they're always misleading them. That's why they're talking like that.
Okay, please. Let's move over to our next topic that has to do with the meeting that took place yesterday in Buea by the conveners of the All Anglophone Conference led by His Eminence Christian Cardinal Tumi. Some points were arrived at after the meeting yesterday. We understand that the conference is going to hold anytime soon in a date that is yet to be announced. We are expecting that they should tell us so that people can prepare themselves to want to be a part of. Let us now look at the crux of their discussions yesterday. Solomon Bias, these guys say there is no need for other people to handle our crisis because it is a Cameroonian crisis that should be handled by Cameroonians.
Effectivement, nous, leaders politiques, ceux de la société civile, et beaucoup d'autres Camerounais de bonne foi qui aiment ce pays, sauf ceux-là qui sont d'un parti que je vais peut-être faire le crédit de ne pas citer ici parce que c'est les seuls qui n'aiment pas ce pays-ci. Avons dit, avons proposé dans tous nos programmes avant les élections le fait d'arranger la crise par les Camerounais, l'urgence d'un dialogue exclusif pour que ce problème soit soldé par les Camerounais. Il y a nécessité. Parce que si le droit prévoit que le Cameroun est souverain, alors il faudrait que le Cameroun gère lui-même ses problèmes et démontre d'une maturation ou d'une maturité à pouvoir gérer ses conflits. Mais seulement, ce que nous découvrons, c'est que le Cameroun est incapable de gérer ses conflits, tout simplement parce que nous avons des dirigeants incapables. Ce sont les faits. Pourquoi? Je donne raison à cela. Mais comment expliquer de façon accrue qu'une situation qui a commencé par des revendications corporatistes, pas des simples revendications corporatistes, se transforme en une véritable calamité.
C'est déjà arrivé. Est-ce qu'il ne faut pas laisser les Camerounais gérer ça comme
lesquels Camerounais vont gérer? C'est ceux-là qui ont causé cette hécatombe qui seront encore à la table de négociation pour pouvoir résoudre. Moi, c'est la question que je pose. En réalité, je donne raison à tous ceux qui pensent que ce sont les Camerounais eux-mêmes qui doivent résoudre ce problème. Mais alors, vous croyez que ce gouvernement qui est en place, là, est le meilleur interlocuteur alors qu'on sait que c'est lui qui a été la cause? Je ne pense pas. Il y a d'autres interlocuteurs qui sont capables de le faire. Et c'est pour ça que je pense que l'urgence d'une neutralité, d'un médiateur extérieur, l'urgence de ce que ce médiateur soit neutre, est la véritable solution à la résolution.
Solution. You've been quiet for so long, Mr. George.
You know, it's a very funny situation. When we go out and we announce that IMF, World Bank gives us a loan, we don't talk about sovereignty at that moment. But when it comes to a situation that we have been living with, you know, there are certain words that is put in the conflict management dictionary that they are not put there for in vain. Mediation has always exists, and will exist till. So we want to say, when people are in a conflictual situation, there is first a problem of mistrust. And when you are saying that you don't want a third party, knowing very well that for people to agree, they have to trust each other first, then there is a contradiction in everything that we are saying. When I listen to our friends of the clergy, I have no problem wherever the negotiator or the mediator in this case is coming from.
Maybe they think that because they are the church, they are neutral.
Give me that break there. The church itself is also buried in conflict. I am sure even some Christians will even sit and will look at whether it's their pastor or their priest and say, you to come and I trust you with, I first of all trust you in small things. You do not, you failed me. I will trust you on this big thing. This is my life. I'm talking about my life here and the life of my children and children unborn. I want sustainable peace. So let us, you see, I don't want to call any denomination, but when we talk about this initiative of the Swiss institution, which has shown its worth, they have talked about the South Sudan situation, they have talked about the Eritrea situation, they have even talked about one of the situations in
Central Africa,
in even Europe, somewhere in the Southeast Asia, one of those countries where they have been in civil strife and all of that. You see, if we had to resort to warfare, it means that we had exhausted the internal dynamics. And I'm saying that we, in the current global situation, no country can be an island. You see, the problem of Cameroon, we are thinking that it started in 2016. Our Cameroon's problem, like some of us have said here, started under the circumstances under which Cameroon became independent. First from the, what they call La Republique, and then secondly, then the Southern Cameroon. That is the crux of the heart of whatever we are talking about today, which is manifesting itself now with ingrained anger of people who at that time, because don't forget that in the East, in the La Republique, its own independence came also under blood and fire with the Maquisard situation of the West and the littoral region and the rest. That contentious situation has not still, because there are still people who have refused never to come back to this country based on the fact that they still think that peace has not yet come. Now, when the United Nations organized its referendum in 1961 and gave the two options, there are people who say that, why did you not bring that third option? Now, we are now facing and living now history that is incomplete. Now, if a third party is coming out, okay, we are not going back again to what, because they themselves have sat in African Union and said that in any conflict, they will not go back to renounce what was given or whatever at independence. But that is also a conflictual statement, because at independence, the Republic did not have Southern Cameroon. And when Southern Cameroon came at this point to join now, there is supposed to be the same that United Nations instrument that is supposed to be what they call a treaty, which is supposed to be registered somewhere. Now, these are arguments that will go till tomorrow. And I'm saying that personally, Cameroon is better together with the French and English, and because the de facto situation now that we are already living what the American Congress is asking us to do. By the fact that we have a two judicial systems, we have two educational systems. So what they are only asking us to do now is to formalize it in a gentleman's agreement where we say that, okay, this is where you begin. And people keep on thinking that federation is something that every person is going to have all what it takes. It's just an alternative. Because the present situation, especially if the 1996 constitution was respected and the rest, I'm sure a lot of things would have taken its shape that would have not necessitated this. Because I'm still convinced that a majority of Cameroonians prefer to live together in an organization whereby people will have an autonomy to decide and choose their leader in a transparent way than going in their separate way. So once we agree on those basic things, I think that every opportunity for mediation, whether it's coming from within or without, should be welcome. And I'm saying that if the Swiss are coming in, first of all, the barrister will not, the two barristers would, it cost money for people to sit in conferences. Because remember, what is happening now by the Swiss is already a pre-talk.
And if you imagine what has already been spent for mobilize people to move left and right, only for pre-talk before they re-talk.
They were received the other day by the Prime Minister.
So it's already a pre-situation. It would have already started, they agree on the element that they are going to be talking about.
Okay. Barrister, do you also buy the posture taken by the conveners of the All Anglophone General Conference, saying that this matter should be handled by Cameroonians because it is a Cameroonian problem? Is it possible?
On the principle, it is good. But it will not work because I've always said this. If this clergy were that powerful, most of these guys who are in the conflict belong to their churches. Why can't they start from there before coming to the national scene? Start from the village. Go to the towns, go to the subdivision, go to the division, go to the region and so on, before coming to national. There it will work. Because the principle is good. But the way they're going is going to cause more havoc because if you notice amongst Anglophones, there's a leadership issue. Who is the Anglophone leader that people will follow? Now there are so many. There are so many that all of us get confused because no mixing words. What the majority wants is what I will want. But you see, people just come and get to themselves certain powers that we are these persons and everybody should listen to us. And they say things I want everybody to follow. But you see, at the end of the day, what's going to happen? Do you know, you saw the opposition to this AGC thing, despite the fact that the principle behind it was good. It's because they realized that those 4 or 5 partners or whatever sitting together to decide who you and me will just say no because it was not democratic. At opined that at one point in time, why can this AGC not create an association whereby everybody adheres so they have a following and a representation? Because it's going to be like the so-called IG, where some people just sit down and make themselves ministers and presidents and everybody just have to accept. It's going to be like some so-called or like Maurice or whatever, like all those things, all those names that you hear. Then so you have generals, field marshals, and so it causes more confusion than you and me can ever pay. So we have a good principle. I say, look, Anglophones have a noble cause, but we are destroying it by the way we are handling it. Not mixing words. The problem in this country is the sharing of the national cake. So when you tell me that we don't this or that, whatever, we are fight, the fighting is all about sharing of the national cake. Because I know personally that I've always been one of those outspoken about that. Why is it that in this country Anglophones cannot be in certain ministries? I've always said that. Why is it that Anglophones cannot be director general in certain companies? Why are we always deputies? Why are we always deputies? Why always vices? Why? That was not the deal our parents looked for. And so the problem is sharing of the national cake and not what everybody is saying. Because don't mix words. Together we are strong, and if we are divided, we are going to be very weak. But you see, again, AGC seats in Buea. At first, they wanted government support. Government is saying, look, you have your private thing. Why do you have support from me? Soon you come to say, I've influenced you people to take decisions. That's going to be the next thing that will come out. We Anglophones are like that. We all see the devil in every other person except in ourselves. We are like that. You always criticize what other person says just to make a point. But you don't like to look at the good aspects of what they have to put on the table. So I would say, despite the good intentions of the clergy who want to do what they want to do, but insofar as they don't put it in a legal, have a legal capacity to do what they are doing, it's going to create more confusion than you might imagine. But at the end of the day, I will admire the Swiss for what they want to do for this country. But we should know that we are the ones to pay for it. They will give us a bill, and it cannot be less than half of our budget. Be careful. What we don't do, when once you bring a mediator or intermediary to enter a conflict, that country bears the cost. They will ask you one way or the other. You have to give up part of your territory. You have to give up part of your minerals. We have to pay one way or the other. It's going to be like that. So if we accept the person to come from out, which is a good thing though, are we ready to pay for it? Do we have the money to pay for it? We have 2 elections that are coming up soon. We are crying that there's no money in this country. can we pay the mediator to come and do his job? If the mediator is coming to do his job, are we going to suspend our institutions? What are we going to do? How are we going to raise that body? So those are questions that we put in our heads.
Good evening to the panelists, and thank you, Leo, for the wonderful job. We continue to turn things around instead of calling a spade a spade. Eugene is writing from Limbe. Blessed evening, and I'm enjoying the program. Wish to say not everybody who speaks English is educated. The president declared war on Anglophones. Don't know, okay. Ngwabi Linus is writing from Boya Town. Good evening to you guys in the studio. Yes, Mr. Bia declared war. Mr. Bia can never be, okay. Good evening, Leo. It's like defending the actions of the government has been a means, okay. One of our ministers did and got the appointments. What is the barrister defending? Tiku Felix, this one says...
Oh, I'm jealous now.
Okay, this one says, good evening to all. I'm Alex, watching from Bamenda, and the lawyer is okay. I can't believe what they are saying, okay? I've never... okay. This one says, my best mayor is Daniel Mata Makombe in Bonge. I'm Francis, watching from Douala. Yes, it was declared by the president himself. Okay. This is Cliff Odo writing from Kumba. Okay, this one's burning of houses, raping young girls, and killing innocent civilians by Boy the Boy in Douala. This is all what pushed people to the streets, okay? Good evening, Mr. Leo. With regards to whether a war was declared on the Anglophones or not, in as much as there is killing of lives and destruction of properties in the two regions, there is war, and even the barrister there himself knows that there is war. I would like to ask Barrister some questions. You send the questions and I'll ask him. Asobo, please send your questions. Good evening, panelists and observers. Henry is writing from Limbe. Thank you, Henry. This one says, good evening. Says, when injustice becomes law, resistance becomes a duty. Peter is watching from Abonamu Sadi. Peter says the military is not able now. They are beginning to talk sense. The higher pressure, the sense it will make for the government. Good evening to you, Peter. This one says, my best mayor is Mayor Ebut Alfreds of Lobe Estates. That should be a Kondotiti municipality. Vous avez quelque chose parce que c'est lui qui doit intervenir. So, which Cameroonian institutions should take the lead if we go by what the AGC is saying?
That's the question I was asking myself. If the AGC, because the AGC, when we were in their outings, they have made us to understand that they are not mediating. They are not mediating, and then they say they don't want foreign mediators, and they don't suggest a mediator.
No, they have not said that. They say they welcome external initiatives which must be led by a pool of countries and international organizations. To them, if an external force has to come in, it should be a pool of them. Yes, a pool of them. That is, countries should come together and alongside other institutions.
And at that, I will have to buy the idea of by the barrister. Okay. If a single country is coming, it costs much. And if a pool has to come, then we might end up having to leave Cameroon for those people to share. So I think the AGC should understand that if other countries are not thinking that they can help solve this problem, it's because we Cameroonians have proven unable to solve the problem, that the problem is above us to solve. Because for the past 3 years, other countries talk about our problem in their parliaments, and our own representative parliamentarians and senators go all the time to the upper house and the lower house. They sit and discuss
over budgets and nothing is spoken about how people are being killed and died. People are dying, and they call themselves our representatives. I don't know if they are there for themselves or for the people who are being killed in different villages. So if you are unable to solve your problem with your wife and you people indulge in a fight, don't be surprised if neighbor will come and even broke into your house to support the fight. Good. So if people have given us their hand that they want to solve the problem, then as we have been unable to solve it for the past 3 years, then they should come and solve the problem if they can. Because now we Cameroonians, we are in a point of where it's always said, when you are drowning, even if you meet the tail of a snake, you hang on with the hope of surviving. So that's where the position where we find ourselves now. So anybody that is showing us the hand that he or she is ready to help, I think.
So to you, there is no credible institution or persons in Cameroon?
Well, the credible institution or person has been for the past 3 years. We have been crying every day. We'll blow our lungs here talking and calling for a ceasefire. People should stop fighting. They should stop the killing. And nothing is being done. People are quiet. Some are defending the government. Some are defending the Amazonians. And every day people are dying. For more than 3 years now, it's getting to 4 years. Before you know it, it will be 10 years. So should we continue living like that? Look at the economy of the nation now. You want it to go to 0-0 before you know that things are bad.
Ok, oui, Salomon.
Effectivement, je suis très content quand j'entends mon jeune frère parler. Ça, c'est le nouveau leadership qu'on a besoin pour le Cameroun. Ce que je voudrais...
Tu es fâché quand tu vois qu'il parle?
Non, pas du tout. J'ai dit, je suis très fier quand je l'entends parler. Ça, c'est le nouveau leadership. C'est ça qu'on a besoin.
Oui.
Ce que je voudrais ajouter, n'est-ce pas, dans sa façon de s'exprimer, c'est de dire en fait que j'ai en face de moi un grand homme qui connaît la loi de ce pays.
Okay.
Et dans notre pays, il y a 3 grands ensembles. Il y a l'exécutif, il y a le législatif, ou le Parlement, il y a le judiciaire. Alors, c'est ces 3 grands ensembles qui, connexés, organisent la vie de la République. Quand nous regardons une crise comme celle qui a commencé en 2016, l'exécutif inactif, dans le fonctionnement comme dans la prise de décision, quelque chose arrive, il communique ailleurs. Nous avons le Parlement qui est le siège où les débats peuvent prendre corps parce qu'il y a des sessions parlementaires où on doit discuter les sujets, que ce soit dans le sens économique, social et culturel, que politique qui mine la société. On a vu pratiquement 3 années où les élus de la nation, je ne voudrais même pas aller dans le détail de comment ils sont élus, je voudrais les accorder cette présomption, parce que si on va dans le détail, il y a encore beaucoup de cacophonie, n'ont jamais mentionné à l'ordre du jour, dans leur agenda, de parler du problème anglophone. Alors que dans d'autres cieux, les gens étaient soucieux, on en débattait. Nous avons vu des vaillants Camerounais dans des partis politiques évoquer cela à l'Assemblée nationale. Ils ont été traités comme des moins que rien, comme des enfants. Nous avons vu des grands sénateurs, en l'occurrence le chief Moukete, se lever et fustiger toute une instance en disant nous racontons des histoires, nous buvons du whisky et du champagne, les gens meurent. Alors, Léo, quand vous êtes sérieux dans un pays et que vous voyez l'échec total des institutions qui sont chargées d'organiser la nation, croyez-vous que vous pouvez encore faire confiance aux hommes qui incarnent ces institutions? Non. Je ne voudrais même pas aller dans le fond de leurs critères d'éligibilité ou de leur capacité à être élus. Je ne vais pas là, ça c'est un autre débat. Mais rien qu'à voir cet échec croissant, cet échec palpable, visible des actions qu'ils mènent au quotidien et de leur incapacité de gérer les Camerounais, il est suffisant que comme le Cameroun est devenu un village planétaire et que le Cameroun ne vit pas en autarcie et que le Cameroun a lui-même consenti à faire partie de l'Organisation des Nations Unies, ce n'est que normal. Le Cameroun a ratifié un certain nombre d'accords et de traités que Barista connaît, qui inclut le Cameroun automatiquement dans le fonctionnement du monde. Donc ce n'est que normal que si nous ne pouvons pas résoudre notre problème, que les autres viennent nous aider. Et ce n'est que légitime.
Good evening to you all in the studio, and kudos to all the panelists. Doreen is watching us from Douala here. George, Mr. Mofo, let me borrow from Nana, our colleague Nana Walter Wilson. Many more countries are showing interest to want to see this problem solved. Is this a good sign for Cameroon? Because we understand that in Germany, close to 7,000 persons have signed a petition requesting that the Chancellor Angela Merkel makes a stopover to Cameroon to see what to do. And we understand that a Congress, the U.S. Congress, has passed a resolution to see how this problem can be fixed. Many more countries are getting more interested.
Like I said, we are in a scenario of what they call global politics. Far from the interests of those nations which are not evident why they want Cameroon to be peaceful, probably because some of them, they have stakes already been threatened in Cameroon. If you look at the details of why this conflict has reached the point that it has reached, it is because also the key players, they are not also speaking the same language. And whether we like it or not, tomorrow, Cameroon is a very, very important strategic country in Africa, based on its location, its geography, and its history. The Gulf of Guinea, the Sahara area, and the what they call the equatorial forest. These are all world patrimonies that once it is threatened, the whole world is also threatened. I think, I'd hope that the wet AGC rubbishes Swiss negotiation is a journalistic language that was used. I'm not sure in their communique they actually rubbished. They were saying that alternatively, the crisis might not be solved by one country, be it Germany, Switzerland, or America. They can be solved by Cameroonians with the assistance of multinational countries. Don't forget, there is an initiative that is supposed to come from what they call the statement, elderly statement, former presidents of South Africa, Nigeria, and so on, that is supposed to hold its own conference vis-a-vis the situation in Cameroon to see how they can be able to also, you know, in Africa, age has a positive factor. And we might sit here in our own generation and say whatever we are saying with our impatience. These old people, they have their own way they look at this crisis. And don't forget, Pobia is also in the generation of elderly statespeople. Notwithstanding the fact that he is still presently active as the president, but by his age, he is supposed to see further and even to be able to understand the pains of what he is going to leave as a legacy. That the period that he has in front of him is so short that it's better for him to prepare a good patrimony for those of his kith and kin that he's going to leave behind. So I want to say that in as much as the situation is what it is today, and all these other countries are seemingly, you cannot love Cameroon more than Cameroonians. That is what is pretty clear, but Cameroon belongs to the world of nations. And I want to say, we said that negotiation or mediation is an expensive venture. I think that's why the United Nations is there, to be able to defray some of this cost. And I'm sure if the United Nations comes out, unfortunately again, these same players who are from the national interest, that the ones who also play the game, the politics in the United Nations. However, with the political situation where they have the decision-making process, where you have the Security Council, and Leo, the day the Security Council is going to pass a resolution, and all of them, with what happened before they attacked Libya, where there were some abstention without voting against, because
China and Russia did not vote.
Yes, yeah. Whether I would like it or not, the scenario now in Cameroon is that up till tomorrow, France is very, very clear with his position that he will stand and vote against any threat of or any intervention of a third party, that Cameroonian problem can be solved by Cameroon. The United States knows very well that in their own small geopolitics, they have divided Africa to sphere of influence and all of that. But remember, the stakes of the United States in Cameroon, be it the Chad Cameroon pipeline, and now they are coming in for the mineral exploitation, and even peace at the level of the Gulf of Guinea, also warranted that they will use diplomacy to put pressure on France to reverse its stand by saying that, okay, let us take now a middle position. We don't want, they are already coming out clearly. And that the Junior House of the Junior House of Congress said, it has to go now to Senate, and the next Senate comes out with a clear resolution becoming a point of action for the government. But at this point now, yes, of the United States. At this point now, it is at the level of still a resolution that needs to be to go on to the Senate. So until that happens, up till now, and that's where when Barrister said that those guys who are shouting out there in the US, the United States is going to repatriate them sometimes. Up till now, they are not yet considered as terrorists. Those Anglophones in the United States, up till now, they are not yet considered as terrorists. Okay. They say the Americans will consider them terrorists. It will not take even 48 hours for them to be chased away. And why not even, probably they will do the same thing that they did to the people who were ferried from Nigeria to Cameroon.
Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Banksy Wilfred from Bamenda, but presently in Douala. Good evening to you, Banksy. Good evening, dear panelists. Okay. Is the state not spending almost all its resources in the struggle? The military, the loss of CDC and PAMOL. Evans from Boya says the state is paying dearly. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I think that some people, the cost of mediation, if some people are talking about the cost of mediation, what is it compared to the lives lost and arms purchased? Bikinda, writing from Lower, I don't know where Lower is. Foreign mediators should come, because for more than 3 years, our parliamentarians and senators don't believe Anglophones exist. Okay, this one says, good evening to all in the studio. Mayor Ikema is making most news. Okay, so, but did not say whether you are voting for him or not. This is George, who is writing from Bamenda. This one says, good evening to you all there in the panel, please. Sakwe is writing from Kumba. He says he's voting for Abel. Abel. Good evening to all. I am really enjoying the program. Kingsley is writing from Douala. Maxwell Ibai is writing from Ekona. We need external mediators to get a meaningful dialogue to the Anglophone crisis. Okay, he says, Maxwell says the war was declared by Mr. Bia. But Barrister, some people think that external nations should come in. And some people also, especially some of the panelists here, say during the session they expected at least the Senate to discuss this issue, the National Assembly to discuss this issue. They did not talk about it. Is it not also because of the way this conflict has been managed so far that gives reason for people to see need for external forces to come so that this issue is laid to rest?
One thing people don't understand, because one thing people don't understand is the fact that nations do interact because of their interest. They don't give a damn to the citizens. Don't give a damn. How many of you died doesn't mean anything. Clear example. The United Nations have been in DRC Congo for 20 years. They are still there. They've been in Mali for 15 years. They are still there. They've been in South Africa for 15 years. They are still there. In Eritrea, what people don't know, the French and the Americans have the biggest naval base that oversees the Red Sea, the Suez Canal, all that area. People don't even know that. South Sudan was because the al-Bashir was building a nuclear facility, and they realized that there was a lot of oil in South Sudan, and then they said divide the country into two. You think it's because they care about how many South Sudanese die? They don't give a damn about that. If you think that we some of talking about stupid, okay, fine. But I'm telling you again, nobody, no real white man leaves his country and come to your country because he loves you. He's coming to make money and go back to his country.
But if we know,
no foreigner, let me tell you again, no foreigner leaves his country to come here because he loves Cameroonians. He's coming to make his money. You say this thing is not discussed in the Senate. At the same time, you say Chief Mukete discussed, talk about it.
Non, pas que Chief Mukete a discuté.
Ouais,
il a dit qu'on a jamais discuté.
C'est comme ça les francophones. Let me finish. You have time to talk, please.
Il faut dire la vérité.
Young men don't always like that. Always on heat. Please cool down. Well, it's a debate. You talk. Chief Mukete talked about it, and he made a point. Why I like he made a point. He scored a goal. I know Senator Kemende too talked about it, and he scored a goal. So those who are interested should talk about it in Parliament.
Friend of the SDF in National Assembly.
Who?
Or the friend of the
No,
SDF.
I'm talking about a senator. I don't give a damn. The party to me is not important. Chief Mukete is.
I'm talking about the former person who was
Okay,
the parliament.
Yes. They are talking about it.
Why didn't Chief Mukete have to come when he was coming?
Please.
You will talk, please.
No, please.
Talk.
But at least they spoke about it.
They talk about it.
Why was it
But you
on the
understand?
agenda?
No, but you understand that the way Parliament runs is on issue of majority. Look at what the House of Representatives did for Cameroon. They had to dispatch people to go to the field, take stock, come back with it, present a paper, and
the U.S. Congress.
Yes, U.S. Congress, U.S. House of Representatives, U.S. House of Representatives. That's just what they did. Those things function. They have a way of functioning. But so in Parliament is what you do what you call lobby.
So you think?
Do you think that parliamentarians don't feel for this country? But I always say that the people in Parliament, they don't have the lobby power enough to lobby for certain things to go through. Because I remember there's a parliament where there is a SDF that caused a commission to before you Muchipu, there's a minister who was dismissed, or Minister of Education, and he nearly went to jail because of the parliament. That was the parliament the parliamentarian they were powerful enough to bring those things out, and they had to decide on it. So if nobody is willing or capable of scoring him back by bringing.
Are you saying what
the right thing
the SDF senators did in Parliament last year was not enough to push Parliament to force this on the agenda?
That's what I always say. They couldn't lobby enough, and that is why it didn't work. Because if you could lobby enough, they've always lobbied enough and things have been going through.
Vous voyez, c'est ce que j'ai souvent décrit ici, la mauvaise foi de tous ceux qui sont en face. Parce que quand quelqu'un est dans le RDP,
je suis en face.
C'est comme si, please barista, c'est comme si quand quelqu'un est dans le RDPC, il devient subitement quelqu'un de pas honnête. Et c'est ce que
s'il vous plaît, je ne veux pas vous tolérer ça.
Pas vous.
Non.
Je ne parle pas de vous. Je dis c'est le constat.
Je n'ai pas mentionné MLC ici. S'il vous plaît. Est-ce que tu mentionnes ici MLC? Chaque fois que nous parlons, vous allez seulement vers les partis. C'est quoi ça?
Vous êtes du RDPC.
Parlez de votre parti et laisse le RDPC.
S'il vous plaît.
Si vous parlez de RDPC, je vais intervenir.
S'il vous plaît.
Je vais interrompre.
Vous êtes du RDPC.
Votre problème, c'est quoi?
Ok, bon. Ce que je dis, c'est que, en fait,
c'est bon.
On parle d'actualité, on parle des partis politiques.
Un constat général, n'est-ce pas, d'utiliser le superflu et de jouer avec des mots pour des choses assez sérieuses. Moi, je sais, et on m'a appris ça en droit, que c'est en session parlementaire qu'on discute des questions qui concernent plusieurs pans de la nation. Mais je me rends compte que des réactions isolées de quelque chose qui n'est pas mis dans un agenda de pouvoir être discuté sont pris comme exemple pour justifier qu'en réalité le Parlement aurait discuté. J'ai encore en mémoire de grands vaillants députés qui ont été traités à un certain moment donné de sécessionnistes entre guillemets parce qu'ils ont osé dire que la question anglophone doit être soumise au Parlement. Mais oui, il fallait être courageux comme Chief Mukete, étant du système, pour dire en réalité que on doit choisir entre le champagne pour certaines personnes et, n'est-ce pas, l'eau potable pour les autres. Et il n'a pas été vu d'un bon oeil parce qu'il a évoqué ça. Mais ça ne voudrait pas dire en fait que c'est le Parlement camerounais qui a évoqué ça. C'est lui en tant qu'individu qui a évoqué ça. Et c'est très ahurissant, c'est très étonnant, c'est même très embêtant de chercher à justifier l'imposture en utilisant les manœuvres de politique politicienne qui n'aident pas un pays à se construire.
MRC a toujours raison, d'accord.
Okay,
MRC a toujours raison.
Now, one would justify the fact that many Cameroonians at this juncture have lost trust in their brothers and sisters and would prefer an external force to come into Cameroon even when like Barrister says, it's going to be very costly. You yourself, you equally attest to that. We have civil society organizations in Cameroon. We have religious authorities like the Cardinal Emeritus, Christian Cardinal Tumi. What has been happening that nobody would want to see them? Is it the fact that they have a direct interest? Because we must also understand, Barrister, that the Anglophones themselves.
What I would say is that it's true. What the barrister says, that these people are coming with their own interest, is very, very true. But now, when our parliament and our statement keep on masturbating with the Anglophone crisis and people are dying, what next? Because I remember at the early stage of this problem, when the people came out to manifest their grievances, there was a consortium that was created, which was to represent and talk for the people. But unfortunately, the members of this consortium ended up on their own. Those that were not on their own were those that were in prison, and who later were released. Now, when you talk about a local mediator or whatsoever representative to talk about this issue, who will now dare to come and sit in front of this government, knowing fully well that if we don't say what they like to hear, if we don't talk in their own language, we will end up behind bars or on their own. Because that's what happens with the constituent members. Why were they on their own? When the government decides to listen, to talk and listen to them, and out of the sudden criminalize them and started chasing them. So now everybody prefers in this country to sit and watch somebody who cannot be threatened by the government or frightened by the government to come and see how they will put order in this our country that has been suffering from this crisis for the past 3 years. So that's my take on that.
That's your take on it. Good evening, Prime Asa Malinde. If the government of Cameroon wants this problem to be solved, they should stop killing our people in the northwest and southwest region. Okay. Hello, good to you. Nestor is writing from Amanda. Says every day, and at the level of there's a level of frustration. The youths are being pushed to the wall. And I think we will talk with conscience. This one says, good evening, Mr. Moderator and fellow panelists. President Biya declared war, which was not even clear, even to him. This is Tende writing from Boya. Good evening to you. Cameroonians are unable to solve the crisis since 3 years ago. So if any international body organization wants to step in to solve the crisis, that's well, be optimistic. Cliff Odo is still writing from Kumba. Good evening, Mr. Kum, and a special one to Mr. Salomon. He says, please keep up. Yeah, please, day. Okay. Mendy is writing from Malinde. Malinde is after Muyuka. This war started when the consortium were put to prison. So we need foreign intervention. This is Daddy Lombo writing from Yaoundé. Please stop calling. We cannot take a call. Good evening, Leo. Okay. Says, good evening, Leo. Why has the barrister drastically changed his manners today? From the beginning, I thought he was a francophone. This is Ayo. from Tipo. Okay. Now, since we are talking about the AGC and we are running out of time, now what should the AGC follow up from their meeting of yesterday?
You see, Leo, the AGC, when it was just announced, you saw the emotional outburst that came out. It's even from the government rank. Remember, that was when Chiruma was still the spokesperson. I actually said that every initiative is welcome to contribute in the turnaround of the situation. But they themselves, somewhere along the line, the expectation they gave to the average Anglophone Cameroonian was that what happened in 1991 with the All Anglophone Conference, Anglophones were going to have an opportunity just to come together and Just shout, just say anything that I say so that they reduce, because the tension was at its climax in the system. So I'm telling you that if at that time that they came, there was a conference and people came together and shouted out, I want to imagine that there would have been a lesser tension, would have been talking to documentation and said that this is our position. And we will not have the necessity for us to be talking about mediation or whatever thing, because at that point, they would have also had come now probably with a third declaration after the Boya declaration and the Bamenda resolution and all of that. They would have had probably another standpoint. And let us not also forget, there's one institution which I want to believe that every other thing put together, the average Anglophone still has a respect for a very well enthroned traditional leader. Because notwithstanding the fact that some of the traditional leaders might have compromised because they openly took stand on particular party line. But if you look at the general atmosphere now in the north and south, I keep on asking that if what these people are going through was not legitimate, we would have had a lot of what they call anti-gang and the vigilante group coming out to actually denounce these armed groups, because these are people that people know and they know where they're coming from and they live with them every day. Some even provide food for them and all of that. And nobody till tomorrow, that's why I'm speaking, have actually taken an initiative that we are going to constitute. Look at what the gentleman is doing in Boya. In Boya with the fighting against Ghost Town and the rest. But it's a one-man solo. You have to have consistent group that actually say that we support this mayor to stand against all the other things that happen, which means that this struggle as it is, I think it has been bought by the population. The issue that is, well, how do we come out with an outlet so that nobody loses face?
Okay, good evening to you all in the studio. I'm Lukong Vitalis from Bamenda. I want to contribute by saying that this crisis has really destabilized this country by bringing down a country's economy, education, and the killings here and there. So please, let the Swiss, UN, and any other country come and help us. Thanks very much for this program. Barrister, the Swiss organization was received recently in Yaoundé by the Prime Minister. I'm sure that is clear proof that the government of Cameroon is should be giving its blessing to that organization. Is that a clear way out?
Yeah, you know, a way in such a situation is always a way, always a good way, because if we can come out of it fine. But you understand that when they convened the first meeting in Switzerland, how many groups were there? About 9. You understand equally that among Anglophones, there are 4 groups. You have the Federalists, you have the Secessionists or Restorationists or whatever. You have those, you have the Unionists, and you have those who don't have any opinion. The only persons who are not talking are the Secessionists or Restorationists. They are not talking, they are not saying anything. They've refused to come on the table if secession is not on the table. How can you talk to somebody like that? You should understand them. You want to make a kaida or bury someone in a village, they call for ransom. You want to do a feast in a village, you call for ransom. Do you know that CDC palm oil and rubber is sold to Nigeria now by those so-called secessionists or Restorationists? Do you think they are ready to leave it, to come to the table to talk about it, about anything? Okay. Please, let's be consequential. Hello, sir. At the end of the day, they will be left out.
Okay. Hello, sir. Tid is Phil from Mutengene. It's a nice program you have there. Thanks, Zuru de la Vaga. This one says, good evening. Leo, your program is good and derivative. Thank you. Duval is writing from Bamenda. Good evening. I'm Joshua from Tico. Please, we need external bodies to solve this crisis. This one says, hello, good evening. This is Oscar from Kribi. Did you think we can trust people? Okay. Good evening, gentlemen. I just want to ask you, Guy, a question. They said 2 cubes of sugar can't do anything. We'll have anything. I'm from Bamenda, but plenty, okay, presently in Douala. I'm sure you're an IDP. Alex writing from Boya. I really like the program. Thank you very much. Good evening, brothers. I prefer that any foreign body should come and stop the war in the northwest and southwest region. This is Koum Albert writing from Woum in Menchum Division. Un minute, s'il vous plaît. Qu'est-ce qu'il faut faire maintenant? Il faut que la Suisse continue avec ce qu'il faut?
Exactement. Permettez-moi une minute. Comme
non, vous avez une minute, oui.
Une minute nette, comme vous avez dit. Vous vous rendez compte, quand il y a eu le contentieux post-électoral, Maurice Kamto avait dit, n'est-ce pas, aux magistrats, en l'occurrence, le président du Conseil constitutionnel, que vous avez encore la chance de sauver le Cameroun. De quoi avez-vous peur? En réalité, si on avait réussi à ces élections, c'est de faire une transition. Il ne devait pas avoir ce que nous vivons aujourd'hui. Mais comme nous sommes dans le contexte, nous sommes obligés donc d'accepter qu'une médiation se dicte à nous parce que c'est la solution. Nos dirigeants ont été, pendant 3 ans, incapables de résoudre un problème qui regardait la vie cruciale de la nation.
Okay. Good evening. I'm texting from Kumba. The day the Minister of Communication and Minister of Territorial Administration will accept that there is a problem in the northwest and southwest regions, then it will be a way forward to solving the crisis. Your take on the Swiss initiative. 1 minute, please.
I don't really have much to say concerning the Swiss initiative, and when I see them again come and talking with the PM, don't know the meetings they are holding behind the curtains, and you know, in a court where the fowl is a judge, the cockroach will never be given a good judgment. So I think if other nations can come in than the Swiss, it will be preferable to me, because 2 friends can never fight each other. That's my take. Okay,
that is your take. We want to say that we are tallying the votes for the mayors. We have Mayor John Donatus, who has 250 votes already. We have somebody like the mayor of Boya. He has 350 votes already. Mayor of Kumba has 160 votes. Mayor of Fundong has 100 votes. And a host of others. The votes keep coming. We are going to tell you by the end of this month who is the best mayor in Cameroon, according to you people, our tele viewers. We want to thank you, George, Mr. Mofo, for coming.
Thanks. I hope we have been able to contribute in the edification and moving towards the peace that we all need in this country.
Barrister, it was a pleasure having you.
Yes, no, thank you very much. I'm still pleading to the secessionists or restorationists, drop your guns and come back to the table, otherwise you'll be left out.
Salomon Bias, bonsoir.
Bonsoir Léo. Je demande à nos dirigeants qui m'écoutent, en fait, de penser à ce qu'un pays normal doit avoir, n'est-ce pas, des changements de personnes à la tête de l'État. Parce que c'est ça qui permet en sorte que les intelligences entrent en compétition. Un État dont un homme reste pendant longtemps, 40 à 50 ans, crée automatiquement des frustrations et peut déboucher à la guerre civile.
Good evening, Cyril from Boya. Thank you, Leo, for this program. I prefer the foreign body. The killing of both parties is not the solution, so I would like the Swiss intervention. Tamfu Jones, thank you for coming.
Thank you. What I would say is that I think we Cameroonians who have solved this problem, if the military go back to the barrack and the secessionists, the Amazonians, will have nobody to whom to defend themselves against, there will be no fighting. From there we can go to the table and everything comes back to normal. We are tired of seeing our sisters and brothers and parents dying. So the government should sit up, because when we say we don't want the foreign bodies in, it's because we have called on the government to come to the table and dialogue. There's nothing that's above dialogue. If they come to the table, I think if somebody was acting ignorantly, I think they will put it on the table. People will give their reasons why they are behaving the way they are behaving. At the end of the day, we'll have a compromise.
Okay, so we're going to have a compromise. We hope that with the Swiss intervention and the resolutions at the U.S. Congress and hopefully others to follow, many things are going to be happening in favor of the crisis, to abate the ongoing crisis. We want to thank the technical team, to you, the 2 Desmonds, and to you, Billy Bob. We want to say thank you to you, Jerry, who is at the broadcasting, and we equally want to say thank you to Michelle Kaiser, who is also assisting in the production out here, and to you, Tabitha Brian. Stay blessed. Bye-bye.
Voilà.